I'm 94 years old now, and at this point in life, you stop chasing secrets and start noticing patterns. The kind you missed when you were busy living, the kind that only makes sense when most of your story is already behind you. I've buried almost everyone who once called my name with warmth. My parents, my sisters, my husband, even friends I thought would grow old beside me. When you reach this age, your world doesn't end all at once. It just becomes quieter, piece by piece, until one day you realize you're the one left remembering everything. And I've had a lot of time to think, not in a dramatic way, not all at once, but slowly, in long afternoons and quiet mornings, I began to understand something that surprised me. Living a long life isn't always about adding more things into it. Sometimes it's about having the sense to stop certain things before they quietly take something from you that you can't get back. When I was younger, I believed the opposite. I believed life was about effort, about doing more, improving more, pushing forward without stopping. That felt like responsibility to me. That felt like strength. But now, sitting here with nothing left to prove, I can see how many of the things I kept doing were slowly wearing me down without me even noticing. Take something as simple as the way I used to end my days. I never thought much about it at the time. Dinner would pass, the evening would stretch out, and I would reach for something small, just a little extra, something sweet, something comforting. It felt harmless, almost deserved after a long day. But over time I began to wake up feeling different, and not in a good way. There was a heaviness in my body, a kind of fog in my mind, and a restlessness in my sleep that I couldn't quite explain. It wasn't one big problem, just a collection of small discomforts that slowly became my normal. It took me years to understand that my body needed a clear ending to the day, not a continuation of it. So I changed that one habit, quietly and without much expectation, and I gave my evenings a boundary. I let the night be what it was meant to be, a time for rest, not more activity. And little by little, I noticed that I was waking up clearer, lighter, more settled, as if something inside me had finally been allowed to slow down. That's how most real changes happen, I think. Not with noise, but with quiet consistency. Another thing I had to learn, and this one took me longer than I care to admit, was how to stop arguing with people who were never going to hear me in the first place. I used to feel a strong need to correct things, to step in when someone said something I disagreed with, to make my point understood, and if I'm being honest, to win. At the time, it felt like I was standing up for something important, but what I didn't realize was how much energy it was costing me. I would carry those conversations long after they ended, replaying them in my mind, thinking of better responses, feeling my heart race over words that didn't matter nearly as much as I thought they did. And the truth, which took me a long time to accept, was that not one of those arguments truly changed anyone. People hold on to their beliefs tightly, and no amount of force from another person is likely to loosen that grip. So I began choosing something different. I began choosing silence when silence would protect my peace, and I learned that walking away from an argument is not the same as losing. In many cases, it is the only way to keep something valuable intact inside yourself. I also came to understand the danger of becoming too still, not the kind of stillness that brings peace, but the kind that quietly takes your strength away from you. I watched this happen to someone I loved deeply, and I didn't fully understand it until it was too late to do anything about it. He spent more and more time sitting, resting, telling himself he had earned it, and maybe he had, But what started as comfort slowly turned into limitation. His world grew smaller, his movements fewer, and before long even simple things felt like too much effort. After he was gone, I carried that image with me, and it changed something in me. I made a quiet decision to keep moving, not in any grand or exhausting way, but in small, consistent ways that reminded my body it was still meant to function, still meant to carry me through the day. Movement, I learned, is not about strength alone. It is about staying connected to life itself. There were also the things I carried inside me, the things no one else could see, old hurts, disappointments, moments where I felt wronged and couldn't let go of it. For a long time I believed that holding on to those feelings meant I was honoring what had happened, that I wasn't letting it be dismissed or forgotten. But what I didn't understand was that those feelings were not staying in the past where they belonged. They were living in me, shaping my thoughts, affecting my body, influencing my days in ways I didn't fully recognize. Letting go of that wasn't easy, and it didn't happen all at once. It was more like loosening a grip little by little until one day I realized I wasn't holding on to it anymore. And when that happened, I noticed a kind of relief that I hadn't felt in years, as if I had finally put down something heavy that I had been carrying for far too long. I also had to learn how to protect my mind, especially in the quiet hours before sleep. I used to fill that time with noise, with news, with stories of everything that was going wrong in the world. I told myself it was important to stay informed, that it was part of being responsible and aware. But what I didn't see was how that constant stream of worry and fear was affecting me. It stayed with me long after the television was turned off, settling into my thoughts, disturbing my rest, leaving me unsettled in ways I couldn't easily explain. When I finally stepped away from that habit, when I replaced it with something quieter and more gentle, I noticed a difference almost immediately. My mind felt calmer, my sleep deeper, and my mornings less burdened by things I could not control. There is something important about what you allow into your mind, especially at the end of the day, because it does not simply disappear when you close your eyes. It stays, it lingers, and it shapes how you feel when you wake up. Another lesson, and this one may be the hardest for many people to accept, was learning to stop trying to be everything for everyone. For most of my life, I believed that saying yes was the right thing to do, that being available, helpful, and dependable at all times was a sign of kindness and strength. And in some ways it was, but there was another side to it that I didn't see until much later. I was exhausted, often stretched beyond what I could comfortably give, and there was a quiet resentment building inside me that I didn't want to admit. It wasn't because people were asking too much, it was because I never stopped to ask myself what I needed. Learning to say no did not come easily to me, but once I began, I noticed something important. The people who truly cared about me respected those boundaries, even if it took them a little time to adjust. And the ones who didn't, well, they slowly faded out of my life. That taught me more than I expected. It showed me that not every relationship is meant to last forever, and not every expectation placed on you is yours to carry. But the hardest truth of all, the one that sits with me even now, is how much of my life I spent waiting for the right time to rest, the right time to enjoy things, the right time to do what I had always wanted to do. I believed, like many people do, that there would always be another opportunity, another season, another moment when everything would finally line up. But life does not arrange itself around our plans. There were things I postponed that never came back around, trips that remained ideas instead of memories, conversations that were never had, moments that passed quietly while I was focused on something else. And what makes it difficult is that it never felt like a mistake at the time. It felt responsible, practical, even necessary. That's how waiting disguises itself. It convinces you that you are doing the right thing, right up until the moment you realize the opportunity is gone. Now at 94, I don't carry one big regret. Instead, I carry many small ones, each tied to a moment I assumed I would have again. So if you're listening to me now, I won't tell you how to live your life, because I know that kind of advice rarely lands the way people intend it to. But I will ask you to notice the things you are holding on to, the habits that feel small but repeat themselves every day, the moments you keep postponing because you believe there will always be more time. Time has a quiet way of moving past you while you are busy making plans for it. These days, my life has become very simple. I spend my mornings slowly. I sit outside when I can, and I pay attention to things I once ignored, like the way the light changes throughout the day, or how the air feels just before the evening settles in. There is a kind of peace in that simplicity, but it is not the same as having lived fully in those earlier years. It is a different kind of peace, one that comes with understanding, but also with the awareness of what cannot be changed. I don't rush anymore, because there is nowhere left to rush to. Instead, I let my days unfold as they are, and I sit with my thoughts when they come, even the difficult ones. And sometimes, without trying to, I find myself wondering how different things might have been if I had chosen differently in those small, quiet moments that didn't seem important at the time. There is no answer to that question, of course, and I've learned not to chase it too far, but the question itself has value, because it reminds me of something I didn't always understand, that a life is not shaped by the big decisions alone, but by the small ones we repeat every day without thinking. If any of this stays with you after you've heard it, then maybe that's enough. Not to change everything all at once, but to notice one thing, just one, that you know is taking more from you than it gives, and perhaps in your own time to let it go.